Alex, I was looking through some old photos the other day, back from when I first started the shop. I was wearing these thin denim jeans and a t-shirt that was about 3 sizes too big. I looked more like I was heading to a grunge concert than a wood shop.
Let me guess. You learned the hard way that baggy sleeves and spinning drill presses don't play well together?
Let's just say I paid tuition on that lesson. I didn't lose a limb, but I lost a very comfortable shirt and about 5 years of my life to pure adrenaline. But it's not just safety. It's the sheer physics of the human body. People think they're just clothes, but in the shop, your gear is actually your primary workstation. It's what you carry, how you move, and most importantly, how much skin you have left at the end of the day.
Right. Because today, we're settling the great gear war. The belt versus the vest versus the apron. And of course, the ever-glamorous world of work trousers. I feel like every time I walk into a hardware store, I see a new tactical vest that looks like I'm about to storm a castle instead of just hanging some crown molding.
Here's the thing nobody tells you, Alex. There is no perfect setup. There is only the setup that is least annoying for the specific task you're doing. But we have to start with the foundation, the stuff that actually touches your skin. If your pants are wrong, nothing else matters.
Wait, hold on. Pants? I thought we were going to talk about cool leather holsters and laser-cut vests. Are we really starting with trousers?
We are. Because if you're pulling your pants up every 5 minutes because your pockets are heavy, you aren't working. You're wrestling with cotton. I've seen guys buy the $200 tool vest and wear it over cheap fashion jeans. The first time they squat down to mark a baseboard, rip.
Okay, fair. I've definitely had that breeze moment in the middle of a job site. It's not a good look. So what are we looking for? Extra pockets? Built-in knee pads?
Space for knee pads is a game changer. What the old-timers know but don't always share is that your 60-year-old knees will thank your 25-year-old self for those inserts. But also, look for crotch gussets.
A what now?
A gusset. It's an extra diamond of fabric in the crotch. It means you can actually lift your leg over a sawhorse without the pants acting like a medieval torture device. I used to buy the cheapest cargo pants I could find. Learned that one the hard way when I was up on a ladder and realized I couldn't actually step up to the next rung because my pants were too tight in the wrong places.
Okay, so we've got the pants. Now let's get to the controversial stuff. The load-bearing equipment. Are you a tool belt guy, or are you one of those people who looks like they're wearing a life jacket made of pockets?
The tool vest. I used to poke fun at the vest guys. I thought they looked like they were going fly fishing in a wood shop. But what they don't put in the manual is the toll a heavy tool belt takes on your hips.
Is this where you tell me about your bad hip from carrying a 20-ounce framing hammer for 20 years?
It's real, Alex. You hang 5 pounds of gear off your waist, off-center, and walk 10,000 steps a day. Your lower back starts screaming. That's why you see the handyman types moving toward vests. It distributes the weight across your shoulders.
But isn't a vest hot? I mean, if I'm in a shop in July, the last thing I want is an extra layer of canvas hugged tight to my chest.
That is the trade-off. Vests are sweaty. But here's what I wish someone had told me. A vest keeps your tools from swinging. If you're a guy who does a lot of crawling in attics or bending over workbenches, a tool belt is like a wrecking ball. You turn around and clack. You've just knocked your fine chisel onto the concrete floor with your hammer loop.
Okay, but what about when you're leaning over a finished piece of furniture? If I've got a vest full of metal screwdrivers and I lean over a mahogany table, scratches everywhere.
And that, my friend, is why God invented the shop apron. The apron is the gentleman's choice. It protects your clothes from the glue, the finish, and the flying sawdust. And usually, the pockets are designed to be non-marring. No big metal buckles facing forward.
See, I like the apron. It feels classic. It says, I might be making a dovetail joint or I might be making an artisanal espresso. But I always find the strings around the neck get really annoying after an hour.
Nobody warns you about this, but the neck loop apron is a trap. It pulls your head forward all day. If you're going apron, you have to go crossback straps. It puts the weight on the shoulders, just like the vest, but keeps the front open for airflow.
So, if you're doing a field job, fixing a fence, installing a door, you're going belt or vest. If you're in the shop making furniture, you're going apron. Is that the rule?
Generally, yes, but here's the secret sauce, the hybrid. Ask me how I know that trying to carry everything at once is a mistake.
How do you know, Tiger?
Because I once tried to fit a cordless impact driver in my apron pocket. I spent the next half hour walking with a limp because the battery kept hitting me in the... Well, let's just say it wasn't comfortable. What the pros do, the ones who stay efficient, is they kit out for the specific 10 minutes of work they're doing.
Wait, you mean you don't carry every tool you own at all times? I thought that was the point of having 48 pockets.
Efficiency is about having the frequent flyers on your body and the occasional flyers within arm's reach. My body kit is always a tape measure, a pencil, a marking knife, and a small square. Everything else goes in a tote or a box next to me.
Okay, I want to pivot to the trash factor. I watched that Gosforth handyman video you sent over. He made a great point about not being a brand snob. He basically says everything he wears gets destroyed eventually, so why spend $300 on designer workwear?
I love that perspective. The shop is a hostile environment. Between bleach, wood glue, sparks from the grinder, and just general shop crud, your clothes have a half-life. I used to buy those expensive technical work shirts. Then I realized a $10 polo shirt from a thrift store breathes just as well, and I don't cry when I accidentally lean against a wet stain.
I can see you now, mourning a silk blend shirt because of a drop of Waco Danish oil.
Let's talk boots for a second, because that's the one place where I don't cheap out. You can wear a thrift store shirt, but if you wear thrift store boots, you're going to be a very grumpy craftsman by 2 p.m.
I'm a sneakers guy in the shop. Is that a shop disaster waiting to happen?
Don't ask me how I figured this out, but dropping a 4x4 post on a foot wearing a canvas sneaker is a one-way ticket to a very expensive X-ray. It's not just the impact, though. A good boot gives you a stable base. If you're pushing a heavy board through a table saw, you need your feet locked to the floor. If your shoes are sliding inside your socks, or your soles are slick, you're in danger.
Okay, point taken. Steel toe or composite?
Composite is lighter and doesn't get as cold in the winter. But the real insider tip? Look for boots with a wedge sole, those flat white bottoms. They don't have a heel, so they don't catch on the edges of ladders or debris, and they provide more surface area for comfort on concrete floors.
Wedge soles. Got it. What about the small stuff? Gloves, hats, eye pro? I notice you always have a cap on. Is that a fashion choice to hide the shop hair?
It's mostly to keep the sawdust out of my hair. There's nothing worse than getting in the shower at the end of a long day and feeling like you're washing a literal forest out of your scalp. But gloves are the most debated topic in the maker world.
I hate gloves. I feel like I lose all my feel for the wood. I can't tell if a surface is smooth if I'm wearing leather.
And you shouldn't wear them near rotating machinery. That's the part they leave out of the YouTube tutorials. If a glove gets caught in a table saw blade or a lathe, it doesn't just cut you, it pulls your whole hand in.
That's terrifying.
It is. So, rule of thumb, no gloves on the stationary power tools. But if you're hauling rough sawn lumber or handling sheet metal, you'd be a fool not to. I've reached the age where I don't want to spend my evenings with tweezers pulling splinters out of my palms. These are the compromise. They're thin enough to feel what you're doing, but tough enough to stop the death by 1,000 paper cuts you get from handling plywood all day.
Okay, let's recap the Tiger Den official uniform. We've got gusseted pants with knee pad inserts, a crossback apron for the fine work, a lightweight vest for the home repair stuff, wedge sole boots, and a hat to keep the sawdust out of the brain.
And one more thing, the spare.
The spare?
Always keep a clean shirt and a fresh pair of socks in the shop or the truck. There will come a day, it might be an exploded glue bottle, it might be a sudden rainstorm, or you might just be drenched in sweat, where putting on a dry shirt feels like a religious experience. It changes your entire outlook on the project.
That sounds like a man who has had to go into a grocery store covered in wood stain and shame.
Let's just say I've been asked to leave better establishments for looking like a swamp monster.
You know, I think the takeaway here is that gear isn't about looking like a pro. It's about removing the friction between you and your work. If your feet hurt, or you're looking for your pencil, or you're worried about ripping your pants, you aren't thinking about the craft.
Exactly. The best gear is the gear you forget you're wearing. When you finally find that flow state, where the chisel is moving perfectly and the measurements are clicking, it's usually because you isn't fighting your own clothes.
Well, I'm going to go buy some pants with a diamond in the crotch and see if it improves my furniture making, or at least my ability to climb a ladder.
Just don't wear your good jeans, Alex. Use the stuff that's meant to take a beating. Because at the end of the day, a mark on your apron is just a memory of a project finished. And remember, if you can't find your pencil, it's probably behind your ear.
It's always behind the ear or in the sawdust. See you next time, Tiger.
Stay safe in the den, folks.